Peace. Grand Risings, everybody. It's your girl, Morgan Renee Myers, tuning in with you all with another live reading of Feeding the Soul because that's my business. Finding our way to joy, love, and freedom by the lovely Miss Tabitha Brown. We are in chapter 11. It's entitled It's Going to Happen. I enjoyed yesterday's chapter and the chapter before that. Chapter 10 was called Do Right by Yourself, and that message was on my spirit all day yesterday as I was making my eating choices, my drinking choices, what I wanted to start my day off with. And then the chapter before that, chapter 9, was entitled Now is the Time to Forgive, and that chapter was right on time and right on point for the day. So I'm looking forward to what chapter 11 has to bring. If you have not already, well, if you're watching this, you done woke up. So if you haven't given thanks, drank some water, pray, meditated one of your goals, affirmations, moisturize, any of that before you got online or before you head to work, please get that in because self-care, you matter. I'm currently drinking some black chai tea with cinnamon and ginger and a little agave. And I did have some live alkaline water to start my day off. But let's get into this good word because Tab been getting us right lately. So let me see if I can adjust this lighting just a bit. There we go. I felt a little too bright. Okay. So chapter 11, it's going to happen. It starts off with a quote by Felicia Rashad that reads, "There's always something to suggest that you'll never be who you want it to be. Your choice is to take it or keep on moving." Honey, here's what I know without a shadow of a doubt. Just because it hasn't happened yet does not mean it's not going to happen. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it isn't coming. What do you mean, Tab? Glad you asked. You're pregnant with something right now. Oh, Tab, don't be speaking over my life. I'm not pregnant with nothing. Slow your roll, Tab. What you mean, Tab? Glad you asked. You're pregnant with something right now. Maybe it's the dream of a family, not at this moment. Maybe you want to start a nonprofit in your community. Maybe you've always wanted to sing and make an album. Whatever it is, if you've begun to do your work, then it's in process. Let me pause right there. She got a good point. Yes, I am actually a prime example of that. For those of y'all in my community that know me and all the thousands of things that I do, I have an idea. I put forth some action toward it. I do a little networking. I will it into fruition. I talk to God about it. And a lot of things manifest and come to be. So once you stop talking yourself out of stuff, stop dealing only in fear, then you're able to really tap into the things that you need to be doing. So good word, Tab. Let's keep it moving. Try not to interject too much. Maybe you always want to sing or make an album, whatever it is. If you've begun to do the work, then it's in process, just like a baby. In ideal circumstances, it takes 9 months of incubation and nurturing to develop strong and healthy. Your dream is going to take some time to develop. And even when the baby is born, say when you finish the first song, they can't thrive on their own. You have to care for them, raise them, teach them how to be in the world. Well, that's also your task for growing your dream. Nurture that dream. For me, that was and is studying my craft of acting. For you, it might be something else. You know what? I just had a thought before I started reading the book because it's, what, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time where I'm at. And I was just thinking about like my lifestyle because I said, I want to, after I did all my meditating and my self care before I got on, I had made a goal. So I want to be on live doing the read by 9. But I was like, I've always been an early riser because of the type of lifestyle I have as going to art school, being an actress, being in performing arts. I've always had to be an early riser. So I was like, wow. But it made me think back to acting was the first thing that really made me, aside from school, but acting really taught me about being prepared, being on time, studying, rehearsing. I was like, wow, like some of the roadblocks I'm running into business and hosting events and things like that come from I've always been prepared to be ready to go, to be on set, be on scene, be in character. So maybe that's why when some people don't align with me like that, it'd be a little agitative. But what Jaquetta said, yes, you do. You are a doer. Greensboro and the surrounding area is so lucky to have you. See you soon. Hey, Wine a little. Yeah, I gotta hit you up. My cousin Raspberry been talking to you and told me something about you wanted me to do something with some gardening. Yeah, hit my inbox if I don't hit you, child. It'd be a lot going on over here. All right, I'm gonna try to read without interjecting. Usually, welcome all my new followers on Storytime with more of my. Typically, I do interject and give my own 2 cents when I'm reading black books by black authors, but with Tab's book, it's so good. I usually try not to do that one, and this is a lengthy chapter, so I'm gonna try to go through the rest of it and not interject. All right. Um, Nurture that dream. For me, that was and is studying my craft of acting. For you, it might be doing something else. Be brave enough to groom yourself and your dream to be what it needs to be in the world. Don't let your courage just live inside your keyboard. It's easy to post motivational, inspirational quotes. It might even be therapeutic to post all the good, bad, and ugly stuff going on in your life on Facebook. But none of that matters if you aren't doing something about it. If you do nothing but sit on the couch, eat chips, and look at what everyone's posting, then what was really the point of all that inspiration and motivation? Why did it not inspire and motivate you to get up and get to work on your dream? But even as you nurture your dream and work toward its fulfillment, be patient. It may not look like anything is happening right now, but that doesn't mean the thing you are longing for is not on its way. Don't you dare allow discouragement to settle into your bones. Feel it because it's definitely real, but then let it go as soon as you can. Choose to trust that God sees you and is working it out for you. Discouragement is like a disease. It can make you mentally sick. You'll find yourself so or what hasn't been done that you'll eventually end up stuck in a well of negativity. Give me 1 second, y'all. My phone battery already loaded. They just damn started. Hold on. I'm looking for my long one. I'm usually more prepared than this, guys. My apologies. Okay, let's see. All right. All right. Let's set it up. Excuse me. Like this. Okay. Can y'all still see me good? All right. All right. Discouragement is like a disease. It can make you mentally sick. You'll find yourself so fixated on what didn't happen or what wasn't done that you eventually end up stuck in a well of negativity. And if you're not careful, that discouragement will show up in physical form because our bodies are always listening and it can make you right on and it can take you right on out. So many people look at my life and think, "Oh wow, she's an overnight success." Sometimes they even say it. What they don't know is that I've been pursuing my dream for 23 years. Okay, it would have been easy, and some would even say reasonable, for me to quit in a year 12 or year 18. But after 23, but year but year 23 was apparently my time, and I'm glad I kept on pressing. I always knew I wanted to be an actor, and I acted in local and regional theater during my childhood and in high school. I also made clothes all throughout high school. So when it was time for me to go to college, my mom came to me and said, "Babe, I know you want to be an actress. I know that, but we don't know anybody who's ever done that before." She wasn't trying to discourage me. She was just teaching me what she'd been taught. I always have a plan B. "Listen, you make clothes," she continued. "You're really good at that. How about you go to school to study fashion design? That way, you have something to fall back on in case your acting doesn't work out. Or you'll also have something that can help you make money so you can pursue your acting." This is probably why I don't believe in plan Bs now. Plan A will work for you if you truly believe in it. I did just what Mama said. I thought, well, I am good at making clothes. I do enjoy fashion. So I enrolled in the International Fine Arts College in Miami, Florida to study fashion design. In the first semester, I must have only been there for 2 months. I awakened in the middle of the night with one thought: I'm supposed to be acting. I knew I was wasting my time down there, and here's the thing, nothing was going wrong with my classes. Everything was fine, actually. But I just had a call in my spirit, a passion that lived inside me that could not be quenched. That night at about 1 o'clock in the morning, I called my daddy. I know I scared him so much calling that late, but I knew I needed to make that call immediately. Daddy, listen, I'm wasting your money down here. You need to come on and get me. I'm supposed to be acting. And of course, because I'm a daddy's girl, he did not hesitate. He said, well, it's Wednesday. I have to work at the mill Friday, but after I get off, I will get on the road. My daddy drove 14 hours to Miami to pick me up. Back in my hometown of Eden, I was thinking, okay, Lord, what's next? How am I going to get this dream I have? After some research, I applied to the amazing performing arts program at Columbia College in Chicago. Mom and I flew there in the spring for a campus tour, and I fell in love with the city, the college, everything. It just felt right. This is where I want to go, Mom, I told her. I've got to go here and pursue my acting. This is it. I was so inspired. So, after being accepted, I prepared myself to start there in the fall. I decided that I would work my tail off all summer to ensure I had enough money to pay for an apartment and any books I would need come August, and that's what I did. I saved every dime I had and was ready to start living my dream. Then the bottom fell out. 2 weeks before the start of the semester, I received a letter from the school. Unfortunately, due to the financial aid I had received at the International Fine Arts College in Florida, Columbia would not approve my financial aid, and my parents were completely tapped out. I'd worked all summer long to save, and honey, I still didn't have enough for tuition. It felt like someone had blown up a big, beautiful, colorful balloon only to pop it right in my face. For half a moment, I let discouragement take over. What now? What am I going to do? How am I going to pursue my acting? Then I remembered my lifeline. My mother was newly married, and my savior was my stepfather's sister. At least so I thought. Neither Mama nor I knew her very well. I certainly didn't know her other than talking to her on the phone a couple of times, but she lived in California. In one of those sporadic conversations, she said to me, if you ever want to move to California, you can come and rent a room from me. I asked Mama, do you think that's still an option? Well, call her and see. So I called her. Could I still come out there and rent a room? Absolutely, she said. Unfortunately, there was a lot she didn't say. She didn't say that once I got there, she was going to make living there nearly impossible. She didn't tell me she was going to have me in one living room with her two grown brothers and one grown nephew living in the den, all in a two-bedroom apartment where I shared the bills with her. But these men didn't contribute at all to the household despite taking up space. She didn't tell me my 19-year-old self any of that. Nevertheless, I had made it to California. Sure, it wasn't LA. I was living in the bottom of Orange country. Beautiful, but nowhere near Hollywood. Nowhere near the places where my dreams could come true, but closer than I was before. That had to count for something, right? Honey, it was beyond hard. I had to work two jobs to afford to even live there. I just I just started seeing Chance back in North Carolina, and he was planning to come out to California with me so we could get our own place. I couldn't tell him about the bad living situation. I held my dream tightly, so I wasn't going to tell anybody anything. I was just going to figure it out. After I'd been there for a couple of months, Chance arrived, and he was immediately upset. Wait a minute. This is insane, Tab. This lady's taking your money and you got other people living here. All you really have was a room, but you're paying all these bills? Then he said the thing I didn't want to hear. The cost of living is way too high out here. We need to move back to Greensboro, to North Carolina, stay for 1 year, save up our money, and then move to Los Angeles so you can really pursue your acting career. He was right, and I agreed to move back home, but I couldn't help but feel that familiar weight of discouragement in my heart. Oh God, I'm leaving California. I have to wait another whole year before I can really start trying to do what I love. This hurts. Well, honey, let me tell you about that 1 year. That 1 year turned into 5. In that time, me and Chance got married and we had our daughter Choice. We both had good jobs and we had a house. And deep down in my heart, where I'd pushed it aside, there was my nearly forgotten dream. I have a child now, responsibilities. I certainly can't pursue an acting career now. When you're from a small town like Eden, there's a certain mentality, expectations that people live by. You get married, go to work, have babies, y'all get yourselves a house, and live happily ever after. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Some people dream of that life, and I'm not mad at them. But the limitations of that mentality also mean there ain't no big dreaming happening, which means that those of us who want to do more, go somewhere else, and do other things can easily get stuck. And as much as I didn't want to get stuck, I started to buy into the idea that my life in Greensboro was all there was for me. I really stopped dreaming. I stopped thinking about acting. I was working at a UPS call center as a supervisor. Get you back right, honey. Okay. Um, I started back working at a UPS call center as a supervisor. Our life was pretty good. So I tucked my dream deep down and figured that my life had chosen my path for me. We had a cute little red brick house in Greensboro, a stone's throw from Eden. There was a huge baseball field next to us and a small church across the street. We were surrounded by family and so much love and support. Everything was going well, and I thought I was okay with it all. But then one morning, I experienced what can only be described as an earthquake. It felt like my room shook wildly, and I woke up startled. Then a voice like thunder was so loud. All right, y'all, sorry. I'm trying to get y'all straight. All right. This is not the life I planned for you. Oh my God, Lord, is that you speaking to me? Because if it ain't, I'm about to send myself to the crazy house. I'm about to lose my mind. I got on my knees and prayed. Lord, if this is you speaking to me, please, I need a sign today. I need you to show me clearly that this is you. I wanted this confirmation so bad because as soon as I heard this is not the life I planned for you, it instantly brought back in my spirit, you're an actor. You're an actor. But I was in Greensboro, North Carolina, so becoming an actor still felt so far-fetched. How, Lord? Later that day, Chance, Choice, and I were on our way to the mall. As we were driving, DJ Buster Brown came on the radio and said, "Hey y'all, this is Buster Brown. I've got a new TV show on the WB network, and I'm holding auditions for a female co-host. Honey, honey, I almost tore the windows out the car. I was going crazy because all I kept thinking was, that's my sign, right? That's my job." It's hard to tell people about hearing the voice of God. If they've never experienced it or if they're not a believer, they will look at you like you crazy. So let me pause right here. I know I said I wasn't going to interject a lot, but me and Tab have such a similar, uh, not story, but just so many similarities in our life. Like with us both being actresses, both being plant-based, her completely vegan. And then when she had the book tour, and she came to Greensboro, we were her first stop, and Buster Brown was her moderator. And I had gotten into radio for a very brief moment of time, like interning. And I had the chance to meet Buster a few times, and like, so it's just really cool. Like, so it was so beautiful seeing them on that tour and him and her talking, and them bringing up this moment of her hearing it, her coming on there, and she was on the show and was a co-host with him for a few years. And I had no idea. I was younger then, so I knew I had grew up hearing Buster on 97.1, but I don't know anything about this moment. So to know that she was in the city that I'm born and raised, Greensboro, North Carolina, lived here, was thriving here, doing some of the things that I've been interested in or put my toe into, it's just so crazy. And then when she was talking about the Chicago part, my first job out of college, I lived in Chicago for 6 months, going door to door. I switched jobs, a whole different companies. So I was in like a new city for the first time ever on my own. And I'm an actress as well, event host. Love getting people together, same as Tab. Love just talking and vibing with people. So it's just so cool. I just love the reflections in our lives. And I can't wait to meet her. It's coming. She done got my earrings. She tagged me in the story yesterday. It's coming. We're going to get her at the Greensboro Vegan Vendors Market. We're going to wheel her into existence here. She's amazing people. All right, so it's hard to tell people about hearing the voice of God. If they've never experienced it or they're not a believer, they will look at you like you're crazy. Even if they're your partner or a family member, it will sound strange to them. But I didn't care. I was clear that I'd heard what I heard, and in that moment, I had my confirmation. The auditions were at a Jamaican restaurant in Greensboro. Probably, what's the Jamaican restaurant? Reggae Cafe. That's one of the only ones we got. The auditions were at a Jamaican restaurant in Greensboro. It was a weekly audition show, and each week people were eliminated until there was a winner. During the first audition week, there were probably 30 or 40 women there waiting for their shot. We had to introduce ourselves in front of a crowd and say why we wanted the gig. After that first week, I got the call back for the next week's audition where we had to pitch a segment that we produced for the show. It was now down to 10 women. I pitched the idea of a fashion show with local designers. Oh, good idea, Tab. I love fashion, and I had a girlfriend, Tina Bennett, who would design clothes. I called her and said, hey, I'm doing these auditions for the Buster Brown show, and I have to produce my own segment. I want to show local fashion designer, and I want you to do a little fashion show during the audition. She was on board. See, it's that ingenuity. It's that thinking ahead. It's that what will set me apart. That's how you get ahead. That's how you get in the game. You got to have that type of mindset. Because she could have just came in there and just did, you know, the audition, but to have her friend come and help so that it could be visual, yes. Honey, we got a couple of models and took some vintage pieces of clothing, cut or painted them, and recreated looks with them. We did a show in the back room of our house in Greensboro with me hosting and a camera guy, Carlos, shooting it for me. I showed the segment at the next Buster Brown live show, and that solidified me making it to the final round with 2 others. The very last weeks of auditions was the Give Back episode. We were tasked with going to a place that was giving back to the community and interviewing the organizers. Well, honey, that was right up my alley. I passed that test with flying colors and ultimately ended up winning the competition, of course. She didn't say, of course. I said, of course. Of course she did. Yes. Whether I was hosting a live party or going behind the scenes at a concert, I had so much fun working on the show. It just gave me confidence and it fueled the fire inside of me. This was another affirmation of my gift. Working on the show gave me the desire to say, okay, I am ready to go back to LA now. That gig did one thing for me. It taught me how to start dreaming again. I interviewed everyone from LL Cool J to Nas to Junior Mafia and Little John. In addition to interviews, I started producing television and my own little segments like the fashion show I presented at the audition. I started doing community theater and short films. Wow, beautiful. I drove 3 hours to Wilmington, North Carolina to do extra work on the hit TV show One Tree Hill. All of this awakened me to the possibilities. It was time. It's time for me to move back to LA, I said to Chance. I know it's been years, but I have to move back. He said, no, we're not moving back. Chance. I love this for her. So I act locally, but I also host a lot of events and do a lot of stuff. And I told myself I didn't really want to be caught up in the Hollywood aspect of it, but I still be wanting to act. I'm in a movie called Sacred Path. It's on Tubi, the free app that you can download or get it on your smart TV. Some local writers and business owners out here came up with the script and I acted in that. I do a lot of stage plays. I'm a part of an acting troupe out here called Scrap Metal. But she's kind of inspired me because I never thought, and I've always wanted to go to California, but something in me has, I guess, the fears of like living out there, the cost of living, and then just getting caught up in Hollywood. Like, I'm really kind of content with doing stage plays at this moment and, you know, maybe getting some film gigs here and there with, you know, trusted people that I want to work with. I'm not too sure if I want to go Hollywood, but we'll see. We'll see the trajectory of what the Lord has in store for me, because I do enjoy acting. I don't know about Hollywood. I don't want to change or get caught up in none of that. just to be famous. Like, whoever need to know me will know me. Enough people know me anyway. So he said, no, we're not moving back. I knew his reservations. I understood his fears, but it wasn't an option for me. Listen, I've heard the voice of God, man. He wasn't moved. Then I said, okay, I'll tell you what. I'll go on my own. I'll fly back and forth. Something is calling me. God is telling me it's time to go. Of course, he wasn't interested in the back and forth. You ain't going to be going back and forth without me. Let's figure this thing out. And we did. We spent the year planning, and on Halloween 2004, 5 years after our first attempt, we moved to Los Angeles. I could feel the passion pulsing inside my heart. Now I'm in LA. This was where I can get started. As I've shared, I took on a job at Macy's and began auditioning. I was on my way, right? Well, no sooner as we had gotten settled than my mom started to get sick back in North Carolina. She was then diagnosed with ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, a terminal neuromuscular illness. My world stopped. My dreaming stopped. The dreams of becoming an actress stopped. You only get one mama. I flew back and forth to North Carolina to help care for her for weeks and sometimes months at a time. Early in her illness, she'd get mad at me flying in from Los Angeles to take care of her. She'd say, "Why are you here? You're supposed to be doing your acting out there in LA." And I'd say, "Mama, no, that time will come. But right now, it's my last little bit of time to spend with you. This is where I want to be." I would also remind her that if the tables were turned, she would be right there by my side. It was so hard to see my mom literally lose herself to this disease, but I had to be there. Nothing was more important than helping to take care of her with my sister. And I didn't know it at the time, but God was using the experience to teach me some things, to equip me with what I would need to be not only a better actress, but a better human. I learned what it meant to have patience, to have empathy, and to show love. I was forced to be more vulnerable than ever before in my life. When my mother passed away in 2007, I was more determined than ever to do what I was called to do. There was no way I could watch my mother fight to live and lose her battle, experience that life-changing grief, and not pursue my dream with every piece of my heart and soul. The loss gave me new motivation. It gave me a fight inside myself, and when I returned to LA, I jumped right into it. I would say yes to almost anything. I did 5 straight to DVD movies, commercials, and music videos, even if it was for free. Mama wanted me to make it, and I was going to do just that. While I didn't have any big breaks during that time, I was so grateful for the small victories. Chance and I bought a home in Palmdale, which wasn't the best move. We were suckered into living in the desert because my husband is a police officer, and the other police officers and firemen he worked with all said, "Man, we all live out here. We all live out there." They sold us on it being safer to live out there, and we believed them, despite the fact that we lived in LA for 5 years and never had a problem. We've now lived in the valley for 10 years and never had a problem. While we were living in Palmdale, I worked as a caregiver in an assisted living home. The auditions began to dry up, and my old buddy Discouragement paid me a visit. "God, I feel like I'm getting further away from acting. Things were going so good. Now everything has disappeared. Lord, what's going on?" Palmdale wasn't the best experience for us, and so after a year, we headed back to LA, to the Valley. Chance and I were also talking about having another baby. Ironically, though, I didn't have the same concerns about the impact of having a child on my career as I did years before. Having Queston was a decision. Choice was a surprise. Before I got pregnant with Choice, I was on a birth control pill that was giving me headaches, so the doctor changed the dosage and brand for me, but said I needed to clear my system out for 30 days. Well, honey, after those 30 days, when I went back to get the new set of pills, I was pregnant with Choice. We were so young then. It was certainly not planned. Chance already had a daughter, Tylea, so I was concerned. Oh God, 2 kids before you're 22? It was very stressful. Remember, I was still hoping to get back to California, and now all of a sudden, I'm pregnant. I thought I would have to forget about acting, that because of my new responsibility, the dream was too far away to reach. With Queston, it was a bit different. When my mom was sick, I'd go stay with her sometimes. She was on a ventilator for the last year of her life, and during the night, I would check her numbers and make sure she didn't need to be suctioned. There was one time when I woke up to check on her, as I always did, and this one particular night, she was glowing and smiling so hard. She had happy tears streaming down her face. I said, "Mama, what in the world are you doing awake? It's like 3 o'clock in the morning." She said, "You know what? God just showed me what he's going to do in your life, and it is absolutely amazing." "Really? What is it? Can you tell me?" She said, "I can't tell you, but I will say that before any of it happens, you will have a son. He's going to have my eyes." Then she just laughed and laughed. And you know my mama was never wrong, right? I had no desire to have any more children, and at that moment, we had the 2 girls, and that was enough. We didn't think we could afford to have any more kids. Chance and I both just wanted to pursue our dreams in LA. But about 5 years later, we both woke up on the same day, looked at each other in bed, and said, "You ever thought about having another baby?" We literally had the exact same thought at the exact same time. "I would like to have another baby," I said. "I would like to try for a son," he said. I wasn't even thinking about what my mama told me. It just felt like the right decision to make. Together we said, "Let's do it." See, at that point, I've lived a life that revealed that God was always in control. I loved and lost and loved again. I'd seen highs and lows and highs again. I believed that nothing could stop my destiny. So I told my husband, "Listen, We're going to have this baby. And after a year, after the baby turns 1, if it's meant for me to be an actor, God will show me. I said after the baby turns 1 because, honey, when I'm pregnant and first have my baby, I like to be home for that first year with the child. I don't want to be out and about. I like to be present at every turn. My son turned 1 on March 18th, 2013, and on March 19th, I got an offer to do a movie with comedian Tiffany Haddish before her Amazing Girls trip break. By the time I had questioned, I lived a little bit. I was wiser and I had learned to trust God for everything. And as a result, I was less concerned about the impact of having another child would have on my life. Plus, my mama told me these great things would happen in my life, but not before I had a son. I understood that it was a gift to even be able to have a child, and to do it twice, my goodness, I was just grateful. I was so excited to be on the feature set doing the thing I love so much, but after shooting wrapped, things got quiet again. I was auditioning, but nobody was calling back. I was also working a 9 to 5 because the plan to return to acting full time was halted. Once again, I felt stuck. Hey, discouragement, you wasted no time this go around, huh? I was working my 9 to 5, doing hair in my home on the side, taking classes at night, working on my stand up on the weekends, and still squeezing in auditions and whatever else I could. I was exhausted and burning out. Is it going to be like this forever? Am I going to get stuck in this job and never be able to act like I want to because I have all these new responsibilities that need money? Let me tell y'all something. God has a way of doing things. Of course, I never, ever wanted to get sick. No one wants to get sick. Not being able to work because of my pain meant going on disability. But it also meant I couldn't really audition. As I said, the unexplained pain in my body made me depressed. Honey, that pain in my heart sent me spiraling. God, you got to take me out of here. I don't know what's going to happen because I'm not well. The rest is internet history, I suppose. After going vegan and mentally, physically healing, I was driving for Uber, and one day I posted a video that went viral and changed my entire life. None of that was planned, but but what was I doing? I was working while I was waiting. I was driving for Uber while I was waiting for God to show me the next step. Why do I share all this with you? Because I want you to know that trials will come. And honey, discouragement will surely try to move into your mind and heart rent free. Don't let it stay too long. Even if something hasn't happened for you yet, or you keep getting knocked off course in pursuit of your dream, God is going to use everything for your good. All those years of ups and downs built character inside me. Caring for my mom, for other people, working third shift, making $10 an hour, the year and a half of sickness, every single thing on the way to these chapters of my life built my character. Most important, they helped me to become who I needed to be today. I'm able to understand people who are going through sickness or who have anxiety and depression. I lived through it. I understand what it is to be discouraged, to feel like it ain't ever going to happen. But I am to tell you that every single thing I went through built me for this moment. It's okay to be discouraged. It's natural. But in the discouragement, find your courage. Mm. Find the courage to keep going. Very good things do happen overnight. I'm a witness, honey. Remember, it took me 23 years. A friend of mine once said, can you imagine if 23 years ago God said to you, listen, I will give you everything. I will give you every dream your heart desires, but I need you to give me 23 years. Would you have said yes, or would you have said, that is crazy? I ain't going to wait no 23 years. There's no way for me to know the answer to that, but I do know I did it. Even when I tried to give up, the call on my life was so strong. That thing that lived inside me would continue to jump out at me and grab me again and say, no, you got to keep going. Honey, it's okay to have a long time to wait before your dreams happen. But while you're waiting, keep working, keep believing, keep praying, never stop dreaming. Allow the times when you're discouraged to fuel you so they can push you forward. There's nothing worse than being discouraged, in pain, and sad, and not doing anything about it. It's too easy to sit in that forever and ever. It's such a disservice to you and your gift. Keep working, take care of yourself, and never stop believing. That's the part that will prepare you for when things start to turn around. If you work while you wait, when it is your time, you will be ready. We got a TSA, tab service announcement. When you have started a business or you are a one person show doing everything yourself, it can be very frustrating. Some days are just so discouraging. Ask me how I know. In doing what I do, I've had both life and work interruptions, like moving and production schedule changes, prevent me from doing things with the kind of consistency that I like. I've had my car broken into, and products people have sent to me be featured on Very Good Mondays, a social media video series I produce with my daughter Choice, stolen from it. I've had my car broken into and products people had sent to be featured on Very Good Monday stolen from it. I even went to launch a new t-shirt line and during the test run realized that all my work on the design had disappeared from my computer. I've broken down crying over some of my challenges in business. I've cried out in prayer, Lord, what else do you want me to do? Why do these things have to be so hard? So I know how tough it can be to grow something from scratch and deal with all the trouble that comes with that. But I want you to take a minute, breathe, and remember the old saying, to whom much is given, much is required. There will absolutely be moments when things don't go right. You will have your fair share of breakdowns. It's 100% okay. Just don't live there. When things aren't going right, maybe you're running late or something you're trying isn't working out, remember, honey, you're not curing cancer. Unless you are, then go on about your business. But you're probably not doing anything that should keep you in a panic. Just breathe. Then breathe again. Then breathe a few more times. Say a little prayer and release all that frustrated energy. Then think about what the lesson is. What do you need to take from this? What are you wearing? Are you wearing too many hats and need a bigger team? Yes. Okay, put that on your list. You might not be able to put that in a place now, but this experience just showed you the plan for the future when you go to the next level. So, if you are a small business owner and it feels like things are falling apart, stay in there. The payoff is coming. Thank you, Tab. I appreciate this. I want to run back over a few points real quick. You have your fair share of breakdowns. Peace, Sri Lanka food truck. I just finished up this chapter. Is going to happen. Basically, the synopsis Tabitha Brown just broke down. Things are going to show up and try to interrupt your process. She spoke on how her dream initially to be in acting school. She went to fashion school, realized that wasn't for her, came back home to Eden, North Carolina. Her then boyfriend, now husband Chance, they ended up getting married, having a baby. She went to Chicago, wanted to go to Chicago school for acting. That fell through because of financial aid. She went to go stay with her step dad's sister out in California and was spending too much money there. So she came back home to North Carolina. They moved back as a family, her husband and new baby, and things started happening. Jobs falling through, not getting as much work, her getting sick, her mom getting sick, and having to travel back and forth. So she ended it by just saying that you're going to have your fair share of breakdowns and it's 100% okay. And so I wanted to speak on that because, yes, like I've already stated, Tab and I have so many similarities. It's not even funny. Both being from the area. I'm from Greensboro. She's lived here, worked with radio personalities who I've met and had the chance to work with. Just we're actresses, we're creatives, we're interpersonal people. It's beautiful. I've also experienced my fair share of breakdowns when I moved to Chicago, straight out of college. I switched companies. I was working door to door, commission only. I switched the company that I moved to Chicago with for another company I didn't have as much info about. Still succeeded. Ended up leaving that company, doing another side hustle job, taking pictures of foreclosed homes in Chicago. So sometimes I run up in bandos, people in there selling drugs, and I'm just coming to take the pictures of these dilapidated houses that the city need their taxes paid on. So I've been in a lot of situations. There was a time when the car that I had at the time broke down on the highway. I was heading into Chicago, and I was with a young man. I had a partner at the time, I guess my boyfriend, whatever I wanted to call him, but we were living together and working together in Chicago. And there was a time we had moved to Maryland after the Chicago, and we were coming back to Chicago during that summer, and we were bringing up some young mentees of ours, local rappers, and there was a program we was going to in Chicago called Young Chicago Authors. So we was trying to expose them to the city and stuff. So I had my young man with me, and my partner had his young man with him coming up, and my car broke down, ran out of gas, and so me and the young man I was with, we had to walk across the highway. Luckily we were near a gas station that we could see, got some gas, filled it up. But I've had so many shares of breakdowns, things come in, interrupt what I had going on, what I plan to do. Something that even with my vegan vendors event, sometimes people show up late, don't make it, whatever. Life be lifing. And so I love how she said, don't let those moments disrupt you. She speaks very heavily on how every time she got to a place where she felt like it was right, then she got discouraged, and that discouragement voice would come in. And so look at her life now. And like she said, most people would say she's an overnight success, but she's been putting in the work for 23 years. I'm 31. I've been in the arts since my youth. I've been in, I went to arts middle school and high school, so I was exposed to theater and dance and instruments young. I was in pageants. I was in an upper bound program. Very, just always very active. Very, just I got my mama and daddy personality. They don't know a stranger. They people. They the life of the party. I am them. I am them. Okay, so it's stuff show up. So I really love this chapter because it just really put into perspective something that I was saying earlier in the reading in the video. I was saying that a lot of times, certain things happen, and I was saying that acting kind of taught me. I was thinking like I wanted to start reading this book by a certain time today after I got done doing my personal mantra and self-care and all that. And I was like, the fact that like I time things in the morning, that comes from me always having to wake up early. Not only just to catch the bus, because I lived in Greensboro, went to school in High Point for the art school. Me being in theater, it taught you to be on time, be prepared, have your script ready, have time before the show so that you can put on a good show. So that's been a part of my livelihood, my being. So I get a little discouraged or irritated when I'm throwing events and I'm having things and people aren't as keen to time as I am, or structure or preparation. And I'm learning now, I'm realizing now, everybody don't have the upbringing I had. So it's important for people like Tabitha, like myself, to share our story, our experiences, and give some encouragement, because we all go through it. It's just a matter of how you handle it. A lot of people, I can't say a lot of people, I don't know what a lot of people do, but some people will let discouragement get them down. They'll give up the first time something doesn't work out. And that's not how people who win at life function. People that really want to win, they put in the work. Things don't happen, you learned another way not to do something, or you learn a way to do something better. So this is a really good book. These last 3 chapters have been patow. And then I've been tagging Tab forever. Y'all know she already got my earrings when she came on her book tour. I was able to meet her sister, and her sister gave me my earrings. She shouted me out, so that was cool. She shouted me out her story yesterday with the story time. We in chapter 10. She just now seeing it, I guess. But nonetheless, we are going to wheel her into existence at the GSO Vegan Vendors Market, because she be in the city. And I'm willing it to be on Mother's Day, because I know just from watching her social media, she usually in town on Mother's Day because Chance mama live out here. So we're going to put that energy into existence. That Tabitha Brown going to show up at the Vegan Vendors Market and vibe with us, and just come share her love and energy. Maybe she can come, her people can set up shop too while she greeting and meeting and eating and relaxing. She could be selling her book. Look, everybody can eat. Everybody can eat. I'm here for it. And it's just so inspiring. I know I keep harping on this, but it's just so inspiring to know that somebody that's from my area that looks like me. I done cut my locks off now, not because I'm so inspired by Tab. It was just my time, but just to know that a young North Carolina girl like me out here, we have so many similar visions and lifestyles and personality traits. Like, it's beautiful to see it, because Oprah has always been my, I always tell people, I'm the next Oprah, because I starting back my podcast, and I like to interview people and get them, do my talk show thing. So it's cool to have multiple representations out there. And I say that to say people need to be who they are, where they at. No matter your race, background, creed, whatever, like, you have to represent you, because there's somebody out there that looks like you or feel like they can relate to you. And it just sometimes feel good to, like, I didn't even know I needed this representation. Like, obviously there's been an amazing amount of colored people before Tab, but it's like this one resonates the most. I think mostly because we're from the same area and we just have so many similar characteristics. But this is a great book. Really good book. She's doing a great job. I'll be finished with it soon, and then I'll be moving on to some books more geared toward farming, because we are in the season of gardening and farming. It's warming up outside. Spring is on its way. So there's a book that I'll be starting called Centered: Trading Your Plans for a Life That Matters by Jason Brown. I met this brother. He has land out here in North Carolina. I believe it's in Mooresville. I went out there for one of my local artist friends. She had a showcase out there. And this brother has acres and acres and acres of land. He got 2 lakes on it. Beautiful, beautiful. But he used to be a former NFL player. And something in his spirit told him that he needed to be in farming and producing food. And so he's done a lot of amazing things, been able to feed a lot of people through different programs and things like that. Again, look, we got I'm getting all these local. I love that too. I love to see people from my area, from my state, because I go hard for North Carolina. I go hard for Greensboro. I love my state. I love my city. So it's cool to see people that either are from here and have went out into the world and done great things and bring it back home, or that, you know, are here by way of their experience and their existence. So that's cool. There's another book is in the living room right now, but I think it's called something about black farming, and it's written by this sister who is actually biracial, and she was having a hard time deciding if she should, in the farming world, she would go to like different white centered conferences, and she saw like the lack of access or inclusion with black folk in farming. And so then she was able to be a part of some other programs that were more black centered and providing opportunities and access and resources. And so she found her median, her balance, and I think the book is called Farming While Black. Yes, I'll be venturing into those 2 books after I get done with tabs. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'll come back with chapter 12 probably in the morning. But if you have not already, well, you woke up because you don't hear or watching this. So make sure that you give thanks, that you drink your live alkaline water. My jug is in the living room. I was in there before I came in here. Oh, wait, here goes one. I ain't put the sticker on it, but make sure you get your live alkaline water in. I'm trying to get this gallon in today. This is locally sourced on indigenous land out here in Yadkinville, North Carolina. The bottling company is black owned out in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and the distributors are black people. We deliver all over North Carolina. We also ship, and we be in Atlanta a lot. We also go up to Philly, Delaware, Baltimore area often enough. So shout out. I think if this is you still out there, Sri Lankan food truck selling alive, shout out to you for you know, heeding to the call when I hit you on the Instagram and I see your recipes. I was like, yeah, you should add some live alkaline, because everybody should have access to it. It's good water, and it's from indigenous land. Why not, right? We're going to buy water anyway. So, yeah, I appreciate y'all. Make sure you get your water in. Go over your goals and affirmation. Have some meditation and prayer time. Moisturize. Brush your teeth. Do a little movement. Tune into you, because you matter, okay? You matter, you matter, you matter. Get 5 minutes in, okay? Self-love, self-care. Thank you more, my fathers, you do. Don't make me cry. Let me hop off this live. I appreciate y'all. I will see y'all again soon. Peace.